Hello, we are Sornia. As always, a pleasure to be here, have this opportunity to have this exchange. Hopefully you are all feeling the effects of the various energies that are sweeping through, and some of you are feeling maybe the weight of these energies that are sweeping through, but it's not anything that is permanent. Nothing is ever permanent, is it? Nothing is ever permanent in your existence and in the world of spirit. So understanding the impermanence of everything, and what we want to talk about is this very thing, is everything is impermanent. Everything is of the comes and goes. Nothing is permanent yet. So as human beings, you want to hold on to things and make them permanent, especially when they feel good. You want them to be always there, right? So we want to talk about that because some of that very energy as emotions are part of what you are going to be feeling as these waves of energy sweep through. So not all, but most of you in human form have your many pleasurable experiences, whether they be relationships with others or your work environment. You have many, many, many pleasurable experiences and many things in your life that you count on, that you expect to be there, that you look forward to being there. And what is really, is that the reality of this is that nothing is ever guaranteed that it will be there. Nothing is ever permanent. You don't want that things are permanent. You think you want them to be permanent because these are the things that you feel support you, that give you meaning to your life, and that this is, especially think about, they give meaning to your life, your identity, right? The jobs that you do, the people that are in your life, all of that you want to remain, the things that you enjoy, and the things that are less enjoyable, that are more painful, you want to go away. And really, we want so much that you really understand that both the pleasurable and the less pleasurable experiences are just that, experiences. They are not pleasurable or not pleasurable in the form that they begin, and that is in the form, in the ethers, in the spiritual, right? They are just experiences. Yet in human form, you want that those things that bring you pleasure remain and stay the same and are always there so you can count on them. And those things that are not, that they go away quickly and never come back. And your spiritual self, your evolved self, knows that everything that you are having here as part of your life, that is part of what you are doing here on earth, is all just experience, nothing more. So because you are in this human form that has the emotional body so highly aware, sensitive to, especially during this time period, we've talked to you about this, how the emotional body is the body that is really being focused on, both in a positive way and a negative way, if you will. That emotional body is so strong. Your emotions are so strong that so many of you are run by your emotions rather than having the emotions be an indicator of what you need to know about your journey. We've talked about this, but this is really what you are all at this time working through, if you will, or learning to understand. But we're seeing that most of you are confused by this. Your emotions, whether they be of a positive nature or a less than positive nature are running the show for most of you. Your emotions are giving you the motivation or lack of motivation, or they're there running the show. That's the best way of putting it. They're running the show. Now you may say, well, Sornia, you told us to pay attention to our emotions, that our emotions were the soul speaking to us. Absolutely. Absolutely. You want to keep that in mind. That is the way that the soul, the essence of you, can understand or communicate, let's say, with your awareness in human form. You pay attention to the emotions. What we're saying is the emotional body at this time, and has been for a while, is being manipulated very much, has been for a very long time, thousands and thousands of years, but it is right now, the experience that most of you are having is emotion-based. In order for you to understand, in order for you to not be the emotion, but to have the experience of the emotion without judgment. And you're going, oh, there Sornia goes again, saying this. She said this so many times, or they have said this to us so many times. Understand that until the majority of you are able to have that mastery over, not mastery over, a mastery of understanding of your emotions, you will not be able to move to the next level of your existence. Now, we're not saying shut down your emotions. It's all very important. Your emotional body is very important. It is your guidance. But what are your true emotions and what are being fabricated or manipulated from outside forces? Because it's all over the place. This is so crucial to the next step of your evolution, that you have been in this place of understanding the emotional body for a very long time. And it's heightened now. It keeps heightening because you're getting to that place where it's like you have to be able to have that discernment of what is happening to you emotionally to make decisions. When you are blindly led by those emotions, your thoughts then are created from this emotional base. And if you are not aware of it, you live your life randomly. You live it at the will of some outside force that wants to bring you in another direction than what your soul has chosen on this path here. So it's crucial at this time that you continue, because most of you haven't given up. You're seeking to understand, but you continue to go into the understanding of the emotional body. Now, your different subtle bodies that surround you and comprise your aura or the essence, your energy system, out of all of the bodies, the emotional body is the one at this time that is the most manipulated, because the emotions in a human are much greater when you are in human form than when you are not in human form. It's designed that way. But you are looking to remove that very lack of understanding of emotions and be able to use your emotions as indicators of what it is that you need to know, not just about yourself, but about your world. So it's a very confusing time in that regard. So if you are all feeling, and maybe not all of you are, but if most of you are feeling your negative emotions with greater intensity at this time, and you could be feeling your more positive emotions as well, but your negative emotions with greater intensity, it's because these forces outside of you have really turned up the volume on the frequency of their intention to manipulate you through the emotions. there's so much you are unable to see and to understand because it is shrouded in that covert activities, in the subliminal messaging, in the not direct, but the indirect ways things are presented to you. It's all over the place. So it's a very difficult time to have balance for many of you. And this is why we are talking about this, because it has to be this way. Well, I guess it doesn't have to be this way, but this is what's happening. And you have all understood this when you are, as a soul, as a spiritual being, you understand going through this experience will require a certain amount of fortitude and patience. And because it's been the volume, as we say, of the frequency and the vibration of the manipulation of heavier, darker emotions, and it's happening all over the world, that volume has increased. Many of you are feeling unsteady. That's why many of you are saying, I feel disconnected. I can't seem to feel my connection. It's still there. It's a falsehood. It's a shroud. Your attention has been taken from your inner to the outer, because the emotions are really part of that outer experience. So why are we talking about this again? Because it's really important that you be aware of what you are experiencing so that you can at least try to keep your feet planted firmly on the ground. And we mean that metaphorically, of course, but that you keep yourself as level-headed as possible. We have spoken to you about the solar plexus and the heart, and how we gave you that information so that you are able to use that information to find balance within your own system. So take that information and apply it. Be serious about it now. What do you mean the it? Be serious about yourselves now. Be serious, very, very serious about what you are doing, what you are saying, what you are observing, all of it. Everything that you have learned and understood up until now, bring that all together. Maybe you want to take some time to review some of the information, not just from us, but from your other sources. Don't overwhelm yourselves, but maybe go back the last 2 or 3 years in human sense, and go back to some of the information you were receiving over these years and bring it all back together and see where that information you received, say, 2 years ago, make more sense to you now. Maybe something that we shared with you, or another source that you trust and you have a desire to listen to or read, you go back to those sources that have given you some clarity and re-listen or reread or re-feel the messages, because there's so much that has changed in your own energy system, in who you are, that much of that information from the past sessions with us or with others will have deeper meaning for you. So you might say, well, I don't know where to go back. What are you talking about? How? And that very idea may overwhelm you. Let your intuitive body guide you. Go back to pull out your things there that you have used in the past that have helped you. And we're speaking specifically in the last 3 years, because this has been the most churning out of truth that you have ever had access to in these last 3 years. Has been the most churning out of truth. Go back to them and feel, okay, Read the titles of the different session, or pull out, I bought this book 3 years ago. I read this book 2 years ago. Oh, this author feels like somebody I need to look at again. Use your intuitive guidance and go back and see what's there that at that time you understood one way that you will understand now from the place that you are in now with your state of being. The importance of this is that you are different now. You're not aware of how different you are. You might go, yeah, I know I'm different. I'm more this or that. You're really different. There's so much more that has evolved, but because it's not done in one fell swoop, it's done a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time. You've gained so much knowledge, so much deeper sense of who you are that it feels normal to you. You don't remember who you were or what you were like just a short time ago. So going back will allow you to look at and understand and review that which has had meaning for you in a certain way a few years ago that might have more meaning for you now, or a different type of meaning, or deeper meaning. We don't know how you will experience it because that's all unique to each one of you, but it's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea to go back wherever your sources are, not just from us. Again, where do you find your truth? And look for that support, because there's so much information you have been given access to, and it's all accumulating. You've been accumulating and accumulating, and yes, you've been growing, but you keep accumulating, and you're not ever done really gaining information and growing and expanding. But won't it be beautiful for you to look back and say, oh, wow, yes, I remember this, and trace your path of mastery, of understanding of your true nature through this review that you might be doing. Some of you are already doing it, and that's why we bring it up, because we felt that those of you who are doing it, we went, now that's a pretty wise thing to do, so we wanted to share this with everyone. So take that advice if you feel so called to, and see what it is you can understand even more so about yourselves and who you are and what it is that you are experiencing. There's always more to learn. There's always more that is being created. There is always more manifesting continually. But because you are not stuck, but you are in that experience of human form, and each one of you has your purpose for incarnating at this time into that human form with the express goal, both for personal and for humanity, it would be really good for you to have kind of an outline, an understanding of how far you've actually come. The other reason why we're bringing this up is because we see a lot of you are feeling a little discouraged. Discouraged because, as we said, the volume on the manipulation is really ramped up. It's stronger than it ever has been. But it's also being exposed. So many of you are seeing through the lies with greater ease. You are seeing through the deception with greater ease. You are also, something quite nice, you are also seeing those things that are lies and deceptions with less seriousness. You're seeing it as you, and this is a very important thing we want to bring forward. Instead of you seeing the negative experiences out there, the forces of the dark and all of that. At one time, most of you were intimidated and frightened by the possibilities of what these forces could possibly do. Now, the scales have shifted the balance, and most of you are looking at it and going, oh yeah? Well, you don't scare me. And I'm going to show you what I have. I'm going to pull out my truth. I'm going to speak my truth, and I'm going to stand in my truth, and I'm going to radiate my truth, and come what may. And that very feeling that you have when you stop and you say, I'm not afraid of this anymore. I understand what this is. And we're talking about those negative influences. When you stand and you look them square in the eye, and you've given them you haven't given them anything. You've looked at them and you said, I'm not afraid of you. I may have been at one time, but I'm not afraid of any of these experiences. I am focused on truth. And what is truth? Well, truth is that everything is love. And that's it. So let's just say that it's a difficult time. It has a purpose of allowing you to use your discernment again, how these emotions are part of your experience, and choosing to understand your emotions as a guide for you to understand your world. But also, what we've seen is so many of you look at your emotions and say, I am not that emotion. It is just something I'm experiencing. And if you need to be honest with yourselves and say, yeah, a few years ago, I wasn't in this place. So that's why we are suggesting the review also of just, even if you don't want to go back and listen, but take time to review where you were at. Think about where you were at 3-4 years ago. You're not that person anymore. So your own evolution isn't easy. It doesn't come without growing pains, so to speak. But it's happening. And as we say to you always, you are the brave warriors. You are the ones that are our foot soldiers. And the work that you are doing to free yourselves and free all of humanity from the forces that have kept everyone in the dark, this is all moving to reveal everything. It takes time. We don't want you to think that you have not been successful. You've been quite successful, all of you. It's just the next few weeks or months, maybe more months, you may be bouncing back and forth between feeling confident with your journey and then feeling overwhelmed with emotions, because that emotional body is being purified. Again, please go back and listen to our last session with you about the heart and the solar plexus. It will help you because it ties in with this. So it will help you. This is sort of, our session today is sort of an after, not thought, but an after session. You're still working through what we gave you last time. So you want to remember that. We don't want to bring in new, not yet. Gain the mastery of what we shared with you the last time so that you feel confident, but you're still in that process of understanding what was shared with you. So it's not bad. Like anything, it takes its time that it needs. So we're very happy with everything. We do see the pain. We do see the difficulties. Okay? There's a lot of burdens a lot of you are carrying for yourselves and for others. What brave souls you all are. Where you and us are really grown so strong. In particular, those of you in human form who have really put yourselves out there in very fearless ways. You are truly stronger than you were when this all started, and you will continue to grow from this. So we're very, very pleased. So that's about it. Really nothing too new. Hopefully we gave you a little bit of comfort. You are absolutely focused on still. You haven't lost sight of the big picture of your own freedom that is the end result of all of this. So hopefully we helped you. Not much new because we're waiting for this process that you've already embarked on to fully evolve so that we can give you feedback on that as well. I guess that's it. We love you very much as you do us. Please know that, feel that, take time throughout the day and connect with your source, with Creator, God. Feel that, because that's all you need to have that certainty. Yes, it's a difficult time, and there's a lot that you aren't understanding in a conscious way, but the understanding is coming, and there's so much you're doing for the greater good. Truly, it's not just to placate you and say, okay, here, you're telling you things just to placate you. We don't do that. We're honest with you. All right. We don't want to leave you because we want to comfort you in some way because we feel this with so many of you, but we must go. There's much that we're still doing and will continue to do. Take time over the coming days to sit with yourself and appreciate yourself and give yourself that message of comfort, knowing that you are truly devoted to an expression of love for all of humanity and everything on earth and Mother Earth herself. That is all. We are Sornia. Goodbye.